So this is the first time you're hearing all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So about, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, I had scheduled a dinner reservation for the program. I'm not even sure how I found it. But came a big rainstorm, and I spent an hour and a half. I'd gone 4 miles. I had to cancel, turn around, and come back. So tonight, I left at 4 from Falls Church to get here because I thought it was so important for you guys to hear this. And of course, it took me 2 hours to get here. I'm not going to bore you with my numbers, but I can tell you that my numbers were bad. I've been in the program just about 8 weeks now. I don't know how bad your problems are or what they are, but at one point I was on Metformin, and I was managing my disease. Okay, well, that's against everything I believe in. Managing a disease, I want to cure a disease. I don't take cough medicine, to continue coughing. So I was against the metformin to start with, and I was starting to see a couple little problems, a little neuropathy and stuff like that, and just a general decline in your health. And when you have a disease for a long period of time, your health does decline. Okay, and there's nothing we're doing to prevent that. They're just trying to maintain. So then I had a little episode in a hospital, and as it turns out, if you go into the hospital and your blood sugar is above a certain level, they cannot give you anesthesia. So I had an opportunity to have an operation without anesthesia or to take a certain risk, and I chose to take the risk. And I spent 28 days in the hospital. So at one point, after I got out of the operating room, my blood sugar was measured at over 700. Okay? And everybody knows that before you take anesthetic, you have to fast. So without food or anything, I had a DKA over 700. When I came out of the hospital, they said I had total organ failure, total renal failure and organ failure. I did dialysis. I did blood transfusions. I did everything to get cranking, and I got lucky. My kidneys started working again. But yeah, no more metformin. Okay, you can't take metformin because of the load it puts on your kidneys. So they put me on insulin. They told me I'd be on insulin for the rest of my life. And I'm not up for that. I stabbed on myself a couple times a day, not in my game plan. So I started doing more research. I found a couple things that I believed in and fit into with what I thought. And so at one point, I was taking supplements and medications several times a day. This is my list, okay? Not up for that either. So then when I came across Dr. Wander's plan, I at least wanted to hear it. But the rain and the traffic made me kind of angry. It took me a few more months to schedule something. And I said, I'm not coming up here again, taking a chance on rush hour and rain. So I scheduled a consultation, we went in there and we talked. And the things that he showed me, the things that you've seen here, fit in with the research that I've done myself, and it made sense to me. If you can't accept insulin into your body, why do you continue? If you don't accept the insulin that you're receiving already or that you're manufacturing, put more in. It makes no sense, and it's traditional medicine. So I was lucky I got accepted into the program. I started right away, and all my numbers are better, okay? I didn't quit insulin the first day. I did not throw it in the water on the way home, but I did taper down. I'm off of all my medication except some metformin. I'm off my blood pressure, I'm off my statin, I'm off the insulin. Before, I'd have trouble staying awake until dark, and that's not a way to function in life. Now I feel like my metabolism has been restarted, rebooted. I have an amazing amount of energy. I'm not sure how to explain why, but you do lose weight automatically when you do these things. So I dropped almost 20 pounds in less than 2 months. It feels like more weight than that, and people tell me it's more weight than that because we're fixing my gut, so I'm not bloated all the time. So I've lost size too, instead of just pounds, which is cool. But it's mainly the energy and the feeling better. I would go down steps, with both feet on each step, like a 90-year-old guy. I'm not 90, I'm 62 years old, and now I feel like I'm 40. Okay, I feel that much better. I really do. So in 8 weeks, I've picked up 40 years of my life, and that's pretty cool. They give you a list of stuff to eat and a list of stuff you can't eat. But like Dr. Warner says, you can eat everything as much as you want that's on the list. So you're not ever going to there's no reason to be hungry, and the weight's still coming off. Okay? To give you an example, you have to track everything. You track your blood sugar, you can. I know we all slack off and we don't do that as many times as we're supposed to, or every day. Well, if you look at it today, I'm not going to prick my finger, whatever. So, every morning I take my blood sugar, I take my blood pressure, I do it multiple times throughout the day. You track your food. You have to keep track of what you eat, because it's amazing. You go to the bank, you have a piece of candy out for the dish. You go here, you do this. I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't drive. When I go to the pharmacy, I don't stop at the ice cream store. It was automatic before. It doesn't have to be automatic. But, I looked at my food chart today before I came. I had eggs this morning with tomatoes and onions. I had a grapefruit, hot tea. I had an apple for a snack. I wasn't really hungry at lunch because when you're eating better food, you don't need to eat as much. So, I had a salad. I had a salad with pecans and almonds in it. Really good. Had an apple on my way up here. I'm not hungry. So it's, don't worry about that part of it. The part you have to worry about is if you're willing to make the commitment to change things. You will have to give stuff up. You're going to have to give up hypodermic needles and sticking yourself in the stomach twice a day. You're going to have to give up going to the doctors often. Your risk of heart attacks, you're going to give that up, and strokes. All those things you're going to be able to give up. I haven't had Tums or Rolaids since I've been on the program, and everybody here with diabetes knows that you eat that stuff like candy. So if you can do this, you have to make a commitment. You got to really want to do it, because it takes effort. But like you said, it's not hard.